of summertime, I think of the joy of finally being out of school. I think of being able to finally wear a crop top again, and my favorite frozen treats. The average American is probably about to go on a family vacation, or if they got money, they about to send their kids to summer camp. Or if you're like me, you're getting ready to watch some of your favorite movies to get you in the summertime mood, to get the vibes right, you know what I mean? When I think of summertime films, literally the first movie that comes into my head is a High School Musical 2, or literally any movie where it's like the last day of school in high school and everybody's doing a countdown, and then the bell rings and then the kids just throw their papers and shit into the air, and then everybody's running out of school and everything. My school was never like that. I don't think anybody's was. But that's really what I think of when I think of summertime in movies, just like that moment in High School Musical 2. But anyways, today we are going to be talking about the absolute terror of summertime movies in the daytime horror genre in general, and just horror films that take place during the summertime. So if you guys are interested in that, then stay tuned. So Midsommer, Friday the 13th, Texas Chainsaw, and movies like Jaws are horror movies that change the genre forever. But what these films have in common is that they take place during the summertime, which only enhances the plot and the overall experience of seeing these movies for the first time, in my opinion. So horror films have been around since the beginning of time, and they're mostly associated with fall and like that September-October time frame. Mostly due to Halloween, which makes sense because it's already the spookiest time of the year, and so just to add to the spooky vibes, you're gonna want to go see a scary movie and, I don't know, be there with your boo or your homegirls or whatever. And honestly, when's a better time to watch a scary movie or just be scared in general than when it's dark and cold outside? And so the horror genre plays on the universal fear of the dark and people's fear of being vulnerable and alone and scared. And darkness is usually associated with things like danger, mystery, vulnerability, and fear. And so usually in the typical horror film, everything will start in the daylight where everything is fine, the vibes are good, but then when nighttime comes, that's when shit goes to the left. And usually as the nighttime comes, there's like this descent into isolation and terror that you can't even see. And so because of this typical trope of everything happening in the dark, there seems to be a level of trust between the audience and the filmmakers that if the sun is out, then everything is fine. But of course, if the lights go out or if it's just dark, then you're in danger. So when that trust is broken, it makes it all the more frightening. Even with films like Friday the 13th or Sleepaway Camp, which are set during the summer, most of the killings take place sometimes during the day or at night, but it does happen during the summertime and at a summer camp. And the fact that it is happening at a summer camp kind of disturbs the viewer on a more subconscious level, because you would think if you're at a summer camp, like even just as a teenager, or if you sent your kids away to a summer camp, you would assume that they will be safe. And when I think of summer camps, I think of s'mores and campfire songs and swimming, and not a killer. So the fact that it's happening at a summer camp during the summertime, it makes the killings feel like it's even more wrong on a deeper level, because the last place that you would expect to find danger at would be a summer camp, and especially because there are people that are literally hired there to supervise you and make sure that you're safe, like aka camp counselors. So the fact that there are all these precautions and it's supposed to be this fun, innocent place, and people are getting killed and coming up disappeared at a summer camp in a movie, I feel like on a deeper subconscious level that disturbs the viewer. So films that are set during the summertime do a really good job of playing on that deeper subconscious fear and don't solely rely on jump scares like typical horror films. But filmmakers take this fear to an entirely new level when a horror film is set exclusively during the daytime. So think of films like Midsommer. And there's actually an entire subgenre dedicated to these type of films called daytime horror. As I was researching for this video, I came across this interesting study that shows that longer days can actually trigger anxiety and depression by being exposed to excessive daylight. So seasonal depression isn't only reserved for wintertime. I thought that was so interesting because the characters in these films have a heightened sense of anxiety, and it may be due to just them being exposed to excessive daylight and just the longer days that comes with summertime in general. But the characters are experiencing this heightened anxiety, but so are the viewers as well, because usually summertime horror movies are released during the summertime as well. So if I'm watching it during the summertime, I'm also having longer days and experiencing an extended amount of daylight exposure. So that may be affecting me on a deeper level or whatever that I might not even be aware of consciously, because I'm not expecting to be if everything is normal outside. And so that with the viewer who may be experiencing some levels of anxiety, coupled with the guaranteed anxiety that you get just from watching a horror movie in general, I feel like that it makes it even more like terrifying in my opinion. So what makes daytime horror so terrifying is that you're constantly on the edge of your seat, because you know that there's danger looming everywhere and not just when the sun sets. So there is like no sense of security at all, and it really reminds you as a character or you as a viewer that we really rely on this false sense of security in general, because anything can happen anytime. It doesn't just have to be during the dark. And I came across an article with BBC. Phil Nobile Jr. says that horror in broad daylight is so effective because it is infinitely more relatable. It's where you've seen most of your personal traumas. A bright banal lighting scheme has been the backdrop of pretty much every real life horror you or I have endured. So this could be from funerals to school shootings to 9/11. All these terrible tragedies happen in broad daylight, which makes it so much more sinister when it comes to movies. We're aware of this on a subconscious level, that all of our personal tragedies or just things that we have witnessed just by existing in this world have happened during broad daylight. So when we watch a daytime horror film, it kind of has that extra element of realism, because it's like, dang, like this could really happen to me. And that's terrifying. Opposed to films like Nightmare on Elm Street or Child's Play, there's this supernatural force or like a doll or a monster that visits you in your dream. Whereas with daytime horror, it's none of that, and there's really nowhere to hide on top of that. And literally in every normal horror movie, even after all the chaos, by the end of it, when the sun is rising again, it seems as if peace is restored. But the genre of daytime horror, it subverts all of these traditional tropes that are usually associated with normal horror movies. And so usually in daytime horror, your biggest enemy would be the human condition, a supernatural force, or just being in the wrong place at the wrong time, which is terrifying because there's nowhere to hide. So when it's happening in broad daylight, there is literally nowhere to hide. And on the business side, the daytime horror genre is actually pretty lucrative for Hollywood as well. And I say this because typically horror movies, they will come out around October when it's Halloween season, because it's guaranteed to be a success, because literally everybody, if you're not trick-or-treating, you're seeing the newest scary movie that has recently come out. So it's a guaranteed success if you release a horror movie, no matter how good or bad it is, that it'll do pretty okay or great at the box office if it's being released around Halloween time. But with summer releases, it gives viewers a new horror movie when it seems to be like a drought, because it's still far and few as far as horror movies being released outside of fall. But then it also gives the viewer a chance to go see a scary movie and leave when it's still daytime. Also has a better chance at doing well at the box office as well, even though it is a summer release. And I say this because typically big horror franchises like Saw or the Halloween franchise dominate the box offices during Halloween weekend and just that entire month. So if you're a new filmmaker, or if you have a horror movie that is coming out, honestly, I feel like, in my opinion, it would be your best bet to release it any other time besides Halloween, because it may be seen, but it may not have gotten the amount of exposure that it deserved, that it could have gotten literally any other time of the year, because you're competing with such big franchises with such loyal fans. I personally don't think moviegoers would have taken the chance of seeing Midsummer had it came out in October. So these movies actually do well in showing that there is an actual market for summertime or daytime horror in general, and that there is an actual audience that will be able to receive it outside of the Halloween and fall time of the year. So yeah, I really enjoy like the daytime horror genre and just everything that we've been getting these past few years, especially with Us and Midsummer. I feel like they've kind of elevated the entire horror genre to a new level, and I'm really intrigued to see where this genre goes as far as this daytime horror in general. But before we leave, I wanted to give you guys some lesser known summertime horror movies and just some movie recommendations without giving away too much of the plot. So the first movie recommendation that I have would be Goodnight Mommy. It takes place during the summer, of course, and basically a mother, she goes and gets reconstructive surgery on her face, so she's all bandaged up, but she does have two twin boys, and basically as she's healing, shit gets kind of scary. I don't want to reveal too much of the plot, but I think that is really good, and honestly, like, just looking at the poster in general is just terrifying, so you guys should check that out. And so the second movie that I have would be Sleepaway Camp. I'm sure that some of you guys have heard of this, but honestly, I did not jog my memory of this film until like a few years ago, because I don't know, like, the ending scene of course was buried in my brain on like such a deep subconscious level with that sound that they made. But for some reason, Sleepaway Camp and Friday the 13th were the same film in my head. It's kind of like a similar plot, like kind of, not really. It takes place at a summer camp, but honestly, I feel like Sleepaway Camp does not get enough credit. I don't know, to me it's such like a bold film. Some people may say that it's bad, but I actually really enjoy the film, and I think it's really good. The last one that I have would be Funny Games. Like, they made one like back in the day, but then they remade it in like I think like 2013 maybe. I could be making that up. But basically it's about these two boys. It's basically like a home invasion, kind of like Strangers, but not really. It's these two white kids, and they invade the home of like this family who is just on a family vacation, and shit gets crazy. But yeah, I don't want to give too much away about any of the plots, but yeah, if you guys are interested in like some lesser known movies that take place during the summertime that you guys want to watch to get the vibes going, then you guys should check those out. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it, and I want to say happy Friday the 13th. Hopefully I get this out today. I have to edit it. But yeah, happy Friday the 13th, and also be sure to check out my makeup brand, Box Office Beauty. If you guys like movies and makeup, it's a movie themed makeup brand. And also be sure to check out my clothing brand, Main Character The Label, as well. And yeah, I hope you guys feel safe and seen wherever you are, and I hope you guys are finding joy and fulfillment on your journey of self-expression. Until next time.